Hello Eng1060. In this video, I'll cover documentation. To start, I'll pose the question, is this M file easy to read? In my opinion, it is not. It is almost like reading an essay with no paragraphs. So therefore, we need to use something known as comments. Comments are represented as green text in MATLAB. They can be created using the percentage symbol. So you'll see in the figure below, we have several comments. We have one here, here, and here. Comments are ignored by MATLAB and then used to provide additional information to the user. Comments are used to document code and conveys the purpose of the code block. For complicated programs, comments can be just as important as the code itself. This is especially true when working within a team where you're sharing your code, or when you're being graded by others, such as your demonstrators. In short, the code tells you how and the comments tell you why. So there are some rules when it comes to commenting. Comment your code as you write it. This will make your code flow much better. Use plain English. Keep your comments concise. And maintain the same style throughout. You should avoid using redundant comments such as this one here, where we have in code x is equal to y plus 1, and as a comment we have put x is y plus 1. Similarly, temperature equals 30, the comment states that the temperature is set to 30. These two are redundant comments as we can easily decipher the code. There are several useful comments you should always include in your M files, and they include your name and student ID, the date you created or last modified the file, a short description of what the M file does, and perhaps having clear all, close all, and CLC if appropriate. These are not comments, but they're commands that are often used in M files. Remember to use meaningful variable names. This makes your code self-documenting. Also, you do not need to comment everything. Only add comments where you think it will be useful. So this is the difference. On the left here, we have the commented version of the code. And on the right, we have the non-commented version. You can see that although adding comments does make the code much longer, it makes the code much easier to interpret and understand. So I have my name, date, and description of the M file at the top of the file. Then I have clearing variables screen and closing windows. This is not really needed as the commands are self-explanatory. Again, creating a vector of x values isn't very useful. Instead, we may want to write what x represents. Then we are calculating the first two terms of the sine-Taylor series. And finally, we're adding the terms to get the sign approximation. We can also create sections in M files. In order to create a section, we use the double percentage symbol, followed by a space. This creates and highlights blocks of code. So by now you would be familiar with the run button, which runs through the entire script. You may have noticed that next to the run button, there is a run section button. If you click on the run section button and you have sections within your code, then it will only run the section that is highlighted. So programming style is important. As I mentioned at the start of the video, a code without comments is almost like reading an essay with no paragraphs. So it is important to have comments throughout your code. Also, indenting and paragraphing helps with structuring of your code. Good programming practices ensure that your code is easy to understand, but also meaningful to others. Lastly, good codes are well documented and readily usable. Unfortunately, engineers are sometimes too focused on the end results and don't follow good programming practice. This is especially true for beginners where they have tunnel vision in obtaining the final result. You will be graded on good programming practices. This includes commenting, plot labeling, and descriptive variable naming. In summary, we have learned how to create comments, the importance of code documentation, code readability, and we retouched on programming practices. As a final thought for this video, when would indenting code be useful?